Hey guys, I'm back, and guess what? It is new project time. So, I had gotten this Mora blade blank a long time ago. I forgot I had it. Found it in a box, cleaning up. And I think it's time we did something with it. So, I've been thinking, and I've just been messing around with materials and stuff all day. And I selected some stuff that we're going to work with. So, what I've got are a couple slabs of a really nice jade. Not your standard, translucent ghost jade, but a nice green jade. Jade, really nice jade. I've got a piece of fly eye carbon fiber backed with some plain black G10. I don't know where it came, I know where it came from, I made it. I don't know what I made it for, but I've had it for a while. So we're going to do some bolsters with that, backed by the jade, which I think looks really nice. We're going to use some of this, this is OD or forest, or foliage green G10, I don't know if we're going to use that. And we're going to make the center of this big sandwich a piece of moon glow. We're basically going to cut an insert with the mill to take the tang here, and then we're going to sandwich some scales around it. And I think this is going to be really cool. I think this is going to be fun to do. I think it's going to be a fun project. And in the end, we're basically going to have a custom Mora to do something with. So really, the first thing we need to do is to get an outline of where we need to start routing out the edges here for this blank. So it's really simple. We're just going to line this up and just do an outline. So, like I said, this will be in the center. This is very rough for what we're doing right now, but just to give you an idea. Then we'll have green. We'll have jade, and then we'll have this material there. I think it'll look pretty cool when it's all done. So I need to start doing some measurements and cutting stuff in half. We only need one of these, not two. We'll figure out how long the handle is and what shape it's going to be and everything once I get that all cut. I think I know what handle shape I'm going to use, actually, for a project I just did. I think it'll look pretty cool. So I need to get some measurements done. I need to get some stuff traced on here. And then, I'll see you at the tools. Alright, so first step is done. Yes! Now, you gotta get this cut in half, and this cut in half, and some model for the handle. So we need to make sure we've got one of these that's, just the right size, cool. So I need another one of these, just the right size as well. So I'm going over the bandsaw and I'll be back. So what I've got here is a very uneven and very rough fitting of scales, the interior, and the blade, and still got a lot of play in there, but the blade is anchored at least, but we're coming along. So it's a very rough fit, but you can see how this is all going to come together. Now I've got lots of work to do. From this point, we've got trimming, we've got fitting, we've got shaping, we've got, obviously this is not going to be a one pin together knife. We've got a lot more to do, but I think it's going to look pretty nice. So what I got to do is trim off, the extras to at least even off all of the scale material. There's not even scales, it's handle, all the handle materials, so we have at least even rectangles to work with, and then figure out where the additional screws are going to go to hold it all together. Figure out the angles and the beveling and how it's all going to fit nicely. Make sure that this blade is fully anchored and seated correctly. We don't want any wobble or anything. And then we'll really start making it look like a really nice knife. So less rough, still rough. Just giving them some shape, and I'm going fancy. Very comfortable though. You're going to have some contouring that lets your fingers lock into that handle, so you can use this Mora as it's intended. A bush knife, a rough use of knife, hard use knife. but it's going to have some fanciness to it. So, long way to go though. A lot of shaping, a lot of contouring. Still need to lock that blade in there really well. Figure out where the lanyard hole's going to go, where the other pins and screws are going to go. But this is the shape as it's coming together so far. So, what do you guys think? Looking cool? Yeah? Like it? I hope so. With the handles pretty much done, I'm going to coat part of this blade, but not all of this blade. Give it a nice look and some protection. So we're going to leave the ground cutting edge as is, and I'm going to get this blasted and lightly coated with some Cerakote to tone it down but also protect it. This is fresh out of the oven, and look at that beautiful coating. So what I'm going to do next is, unfortunately, some mistakes were made with grinding. We have some broken pieces, but it's all going to be okay, because in order to give this real strength, because this is a fixed blade knife, it's going to be used a little bit harder than a folder. I'm not only going to pin everything together and screw it together, I'm going to epoxy everything together as well, so this is going to have real strength. Alright, so mistakes were made. Not every project comes out perfect, and I don't mind showing you guys that not everything I do is great. So got a little messy with the glue, number one. You know, I didn't think the steps out in perfect order, but we can clean it up, that's fine. Unfortunately, I misjudged exactly where that billet was sitting in relation to the rest of the handle, and had a little oopso there, but you know what? It's still secure, it's still in the handle. We're going to have a little bit of that tang showing. Oh well, there's nothing we can do about it now. We'll just make the best of it. It's still secured. It's still going to be a nice looking knife, unique Mora. It's going to be cool. We're going to work with it from there. So now I got a lot of cleanup work to do to make this look pretty again after all the glue marks, and I really went crazy on the epoxy to make sure that this thing stayed together, the blade stayed stable, that everything worked out. And actually, the blade looks a little off center right now because the G10 is not perfectly even on each side, but we're going to clean that all up, so it will get done. So now I've got a lot of work to do though, like I said, cleaning up, refining, finishing, smoothing out. Right now it's not very comfortable at all because you have all these 90-degree corners on the G10 and the carbon fiber, and it doesn't feel good to hold. But we're going to finish contouring. We still, once we're done, got to put a lanyard hole in there, smooth out and flush down these screws, and just make it look pretty. But it's good. I mean, the general contour is comfortable, and it puts you in a good relation to the blade for all your tasks and everything. Now I just got to go through the work of getting it to look as good as it's going to perform. So contoured, some more mistakes made. Bit of chipping on the Cerakote there. I'm just going to leave it. You know what though? This knife is going to be finished with character. Sometimes things aren't perfect. Just like there's a little bit of uneven. I don't know what is going on with me today. I'm just having so much trouble finishing this going off. But got some really, if you can see the beautiful layers in this carbon fiber showing through. A little bit of unevenness in the two sides, but we're contoured. We're sanded down from a 120 grit down to a 240 grit right now, and I'm going to go down a little bit lower, or higher as it were, you know, so that we can put this on the buffing wheel and just give it a nice little polish. Not like mirror shiny, just a nice little polish. So I've got the lanyard hole in, and I'll be doing a little bit of work on that hole just to give it a little bit of a chamfered edge. So it's not just a 90-degree there rubbing on your lanyard or anything, or your fingers, but it's comfortable. I'm also working on a little bit of jimping on the blade. Battery for the Dremel is charging right now. But it's coming together. You know what? And it might not be perfect, but it's going to look pretty damn good, and it's going to be a one-of-a-kind knife. And it's going to get the job done. When it's all done, you know, we'll take it out and we'll test it out, and we'll make sure the blade stays in the handle and holds up to the stuff we would use a Mora for. So, almost done. I took this to a 600 grit, and you know, it looks pretty good. It's very smooth, very nice all around. Feels good. I mean, feels really nice. So what I'm going to do now is take it over to the buffer wheel. I might finish the jimping first, and of course I gotta finish off the lanyard hole. Then we're gonna buff it out, just give it a nice little shine to it, and we'll call this one good until we test it out. I gotta tell you guys the truth, I'm not happy with this at all. This did not, the execution did not meet my original vision at all. If you guys like it, that's awesome. That's awesome. I should show you how the glow element worked out. So, here's that. Here's the glow factor for you. Glow's pretty bright. Now, even though we had two different color materials, they both glow green. So it looks like one, you know, solid piece. Although you can see a little bit of, I gotta clean out some of what I was sanding and everything, some of the other material in between the pieces, but it's a nice, just big glow. Just big piece of glow, which is cool. I love the glow-in-the-dark stuff. I know a lot of people do. I know some people don't. But, you know, it's just a cool element to have in there. You know, look, like not everything can be a winner. Not everything can be as awesome as I want. So you got to be willing to take your licks. You got to be willing to fail occasionally on the path to doing cool things. But let's test it out. Let me see. I mean, this is not the shape and the size of the handle that I originally wanted it. It does feel comfortable. It's smooth. I mean, I've got the jimping in there. A mistake, like I said, mistakes were made. But let's give it a try. Let's at least, before we poo-poo it completely. Now, this is the factory edge that comes on this blank. So I have not done anything to it. I have not sharpened it. You know, seems like the blade is holding pretty well. Do some basic chops. So that's good. We wanted to make sure that was a factor. You know, I'm here at the shop, so I don't have old Stumpy. I do have steel toes, so. Yeah, blade holds in there really well. I'd like to put a better edge on this thing. Factory edge is okay, but it can be much better. It's not, again, it's not as comfortable as I would have liked. It's not uncomfortable. I could have done a much better job on this. And this is just one of those projects where, you know, sometimes it doesn't meet expectations. It's still an interesting looking piece, just not done as effectively as I wanted. I want to put on just a regular work glove, see how it feels, see how the grip is with it. See if that changes stuff up. You know, if you're going to wear a gloved hand, wear a gloved hand. I just said that. If you're going to use it with a gloved hand. That does help with some of the shaping and contouring over there. I wanted it to have more of a rounded shape, but what I realized was this was the wrong material to use to really round it off and give it more of an an oval profile, because you lose so much of that fly eye material there. And it would have been better to just use plain old carbon fiber. But the blade, holds in. I mean, it's locked in there with the screws we used and all the epoxy there, so. That wasn't bad. I mean, that worked. Good solid limb there. And then still comfortable enough to do the fine work that we might want to do. So, I mean, it's not a total fail. It's not a complete success in terms of what I was looking for. I guess now, I got to make a good practical sheath for this thing to carry this around. And, this wood's a little wet, but we dry this out. It started a pretty nice fire with all these shavings. And the blade is holding, the handle's holding, everything's doing pretty well. So, you know, we'll call this a 50-50 success fail. And, you know, I don't mind sharing with you guys that, look, not everything I do it kind of turns out great. But I'm curious to see, like, your honest, you know, I do honest reviews. I want to hear your honest commentary of what you think. What would you have done? What would you have had me do different on this knife? Or if you were making this, what would you have done different? I mean, and pull no punches, materials, shaping, fit and finish, everything. What would you have done differently on this knife if it were you? If you were making this. And yes, you can say, I would have been more careful and not scratched up the Cerakote, dinkus. Feel free. But I realize that one of the favorites on this channel for a lot of you guys is the in the shop, the project videos. So here's another one of those for you. Would anybody actually like this knife? Like, is this a knife that anybody out there would want? Would be proud to have, would carry and use? Just curious. You know, anybody can buy a Mora blank like this on Amazon, or, you know, a number of other places too, and, you know, make your own knife. Using a blank like that is a great introduction to custom knife making. So, I'll tell you what I will do. I will add the Mora blank to my Amazon influencer list under video reviewed knives. Even though it's not a knife, I'll put it in there. So if you guys, you know, anybody wants to try their hand at it, you can find one easily, and you can give it a whack and see what you come up with. So you can find that link in the video description, along with all the other cool links. I'm going to make a nice lanyard for this, though, because I think, based on the handle size, it could use one just to help secure it on your hand, wrap around your wrist and everything. But yeah, there we go. So I hope this was enjoyable for you guys. I'm ready for your criticism. While you guys get all that going, check out all the links in the video description and whatnot. Please remember that I appreciate every single one of you. You are all absolutely awesome, and I will be back hopefully with a better project real soon.